Upon discovering his paralyzed daughter dancing with the new maid, Billionaire unveils an incredible truth. Daniel Mercer stepped through the grand entrance of his mansion, his mind consumed by numbers and negotiations. But today, something felt different. The air vibrated with a strange energy. He'd taken a rare break from back-to-back meetings in Silicon Valley, hoping for a moment of peace, but instead stumbled into a scene that would change everything. He froze, his breath caught in his throat. There, in the sunny expanse of their living room, was his daughter, Emma, truly laughing as Mia, the new maid, twirled her in a dance that defied every grim reality. It was an ethereal moment, the joy filling the room, like sunshine spilling through the curtains. Emma was paralyzed. This was a truth he grappled with daily, but watching her so carefree, so alive, shook him to the core. The thick walls of their mansion, wrapped in luxury but devoid of warmth, suddenly felt suffocating. Anger surged within him, anger at himself for never seeing her like this, anger at the work that had consumed him for years. Meanwhile, laughter rang out, echoing off the elegant marble floors, like a melody he hadn't realized he needed to hear. "Look at her!" Mia exclaimed, spinning Emma one last time before planting a kiss on her forehead. "You're a natural!" Tears sprang to Daniel's eyes without warning. Emma's eyes sparkled, a light he hadn't seen in years dancing across her face. But was it for him? Did she only come alive in the presence of someone untainted by the burden of their predicament? As he watched, a voice in his head shouted for him to take charge, to intervene. Instead, he stood paralyzed. The weight of his expectations crushed down on him. He was a billionaire, a titan of industry, yet here he was, mesmerized by the simple magic of an unguarded moment. What had he sacrificed for success? Mia turned her head, her bright smile fading just a tad as she noticed Daniel. "Mr. Mercer, but Daniel held up a hand, caught in the tumult of emotions. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Now, at the crest of a revelation, he saw Emma, really saw her, the girl who once filled their home with laughter, who now occupied a world of sterile rooms and unending therapies. But here, with Mia, she soared. Suddenly, things were shifting. Could this stranger have peered into his daughter's soul, awakening parts that he, with all his riches, had smothered under the weight of his ambition? The room fell silent as Emma met his stare. "Daddy?" she whispered, a trace of uncertainty in her voice, as if she was afraid he might shatter this fragile moment. Daniel felt panic consuming him, the warmth they could share slipping through his fingers like sand. Just then, his phone buzzed sharply on the counter, shattering the moment. That cold, dreaded call, what could it be? He glanced at Mia, then back at Emma. Choices loomed heavy. Would he return to the corporate war, or stand with Emma, on the threshold of rebuilding their bond? The answer hung in the air, a choice that would redefine everything. Daniel's mind raced as the phone continued to buzz, vibrating insistently on the polished counter. The moment stretched like a fragile thread, one that could snap at any second. He knew it was his assistant calling, a reminder of a world that felt increasingly distant right now. But how could he focus on business when his heart was pulled toward the laughter and joy spilling from his daughter? Emma's expression darkened, her smile faltering as she sensed the shift in his focus. "Daddy, please don't go," she pleaded softly, and each word cut deep into Daniel's heart. It was as if she was asking him to choose between her and a life dictated by spreadsheets and bottom lines. "I'll be right back," he managed, trying to sound reassuring, but his own uncertainty twisted his insides. Daniel turned sharply, his eyes falling on the phone, feeling the pull of the corporate machine beckoning him to re-engage. But as he took a step toward it, he caught a glimmer of something in Emma's eyes, a fleeting sparkle of hope, and it made him pause. "Daddy, I like Mia," Emma said suddenly, her voice clear and resolute. "She makes me feel normal." Normal. The word struck him like lightning. For years, he had been so focused on fixing her condition, on pouring money into therapies and treatments, believing that was what she needed. But what if she just needed someone to see her, to dance with her, to laugh with her? His heart swelled and shattered all at once. "I like her too, sweetheart," he finally admitted, the truth rolling off his tongue easier than he thought it would. It felt freeing, liberating in a way that was foreign to him. Mia watched them quietly, an understanding passing between her and Daniel. She was not just a maid. She was someone who had touched Emma's spirit and, in that moment, Daniel realized she might be the missing piece in their family. Just as he was about to speak again, his phone buzzed once more, a damning reminder of the business waiting beyond these walls. The decision loomed over him like a storm cloud. He could easily walk away, go back to the calls and meetings, and let this moment slip away. Instead, he stepped back to his daughter, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. He knelt beside her, looking into those innocent eyes that held so much trust. "Emma, what do you want me to do?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Dance with us," she answered, a shy smile creeping across her face. Daniel felt warmth spread through him. It was a simple request, but one that could change everything for them. How could he say no? Here was a chance to step away from the shadows of his corporate life and into the light of their shared laughter, something he thought had faded forever. With a deep breath, he slid his arm around his daughter, feeling an electric connection pulse between them. Mia took Emma's other hand, and together they began to sway gently, the three of them creating a cage of tenderness and trust. But as they danced, that buzz of urgency in the back of Daniel's mind refused to let go. He knew that the world outside was still waiting, that his absence would have consequences. Yet, in a rare act of defiance, he chose this moment. He let the chaos of his life drift away, surrendering to the music of laughter and the rhythm of hope. At that moment, Daniel realized he was on the precipice of something bigger than his business empire. But the journey would not be easy. Could he balance both worlds, or would he have to sacrifice something or someone for the love he longed to rekindle? As they stopped dancing, his phone buzzed again, more insistent this time. Quickly, he grabbed it, a mix of dread and determination filling him. He knew he had a choice to make, but would he be brave enough to face the consequences? Daniel stood there, phone in hand, torn between two realities that felt equally daunting. One was filled with numbers, meetings, and expectations, the never-ending grind of his corporate life. The other was alive with music, laughter, and the radiant light of his daughter. It was a dance he had almost forgotten, yet it had the power to heal wounds he didn't even realize he had. Emma beamed at him, her small frame glowing with joy. Mia, too, looked on, her eyes sparkling with a warmth that wrapped around the three of them like a comfort blanket. For a fleeting moment, the weight of the world lifted off Daniel's shoulders. Still, the phone buzzed again, harsh and unyielding, reminding him that this precious moment was not without its consequences. He glanced at the screen, debating whether to answer. It was his assistant, Anna. She never called unless it was urgent. But was anything in the corporate world truly more urgent than his daughter's smile? His heart raced, pounding loudly in his ears. "I'm not going to answer," he finally said, gripping the phone tightly as if it were a lifeline he could let go of at any moment. "This can wait." The words felt foreign, yet liberating, and he could feel the tension in his chest begin to ease. "Daddy?" Emma's voice brought him back to the moment. "Are you going to dance with us? Please?" Those words stirred something deep within him. "Yes, Emma. I'm right here," he confirmed. Slowly, he lowered himself to the floor, his knees sinking into the soft carpet, and he wrapped his arms around both girls. As they began to sway again, Daniel let go of the corporate chains that shackled him. They danced as if the world beyond the windows didn't exist. A melody played in his mind, and he tried to mimic the harmony he felt with Emma and Mia. Each twirl filled his heart with hope. Each laugh from Emma fed the fire of love he thought had dimmed. Daniel couldn't remember the last time he felt this kind of happiness. Then, just as he started to believe that he could balance both worlds, that pulse of urgency returned. The phone buzzed once more, vibrating like a warning bell. This time, Anna's voice came through without hesitation, loud enough for him to hear. "Daniel, you need to pick up. There are issues with the merger." The words floated around him like a thick fog. It was all too much. Daniel found himself frozen, caught between the life he had built and the life he deeply desired. He looked into Emma's eyes, searching for guidance, for understanding. She was his anchor, and he realized that her world mattered more than profits and figures. "Daddy?" Emma asked again, voice laced with concern. Taking a deep breath, he pulled the phone away from his ear and ended the call. The sensation of defiance was both exhilarating and terrifying. He returned his focus to Emma and Mia, who were waiting, uncertain but hopeful. "I want to let you down," he said softly, almost to himself. "We're going to make this work." Mia smiled warmly, affirming his resolve. "You're already choosing the right path," she encouraged, giving Emma a gentle squeeze. Daniel felt a swell of gratitude toward her. She had been a steadfast presence in their lives, and he noticed just how much that mattered. As their laughter filled the space again, something shifted in Daniel. He felt lighter, unburdened by the expectations that had trapped him for so long. But lurking just beyond their joyful bubble was the reality of the choice he had made. The business world was still waiting, and the consequences of his defiance might be more significant than he dared to imagine. But for now, he decided to embrace the moment, even as his heart pounded with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. He squeezed Emma's hand tighter, realizing that he had already taken the first step toward a new beginning. However, as they resumed their dance, the weight of the unanswered questions loomed. Would he be able to return to his responsibilities, or would the corporate world push him further away from the life he wanted? An unexpected knock at the door shattered the tranquility, sending a ripple of tension through the room. Who could it be? Was it the business intruding on their moment once again, or could it possibly be someone who would alter their lives forever? Daniel's heart dropped at the sound of the knock. The playful atmosphere in the room shifted, heavy with anticipation and uncertainty. For a fleeting second, he considered ignoring it. Was this moment more important than whatever was waiting at the door? But then a second knock came, this one more insistent, a reminder of the life he tried to escape, if only for a little while. "Daddy, what is that?" Emma asked, her eyes wide with curiosity, though he could feel her pulse of anxiety in the way she clutched onto his hand. Daniel flicked a glance toward Mia, who looked equally apprehensive. "I don't know, sweetheart," he murmured, standing up slowly. He hesitated, caught between the warmth of his little family and the reality waiting outside. With a steadying breath, he moved toward the door. Each step felt like a journey back into a world filled with endless demands and expectations. He glanced back at Emma, her innocent face shrouded in excitement and worry. The urge to protect her, to shield her from the pressures of adulthood, surged within him. "Stay close, Em," he instructed softly before swinging the door open. Standing on the doorstep was Anna, his assistant. But she wasn't alone. A tall woman with a confident presence stood beside her, looking around with an air of authority. Daniel recognized her immediately. Jessica, the new lead on the company's merger. She looked completely at ease, her slick back hair and tailored suit radiating professionalism. "Daniel," Anna began, her tone laced with urgency. "I'm sorry to intrude. There is something important we need to discuss." He barely registered her words. All he could think about was Emma, who peered behind him, her small fingers still entwined with his. Daniel felt torn, his responsibility as a father battling against the unyielding demands of his job. "Can it wait?" he asked, voice strained. "I was in the middle of something." Didn't he want her to see the chaos he was feeling inside a whole world that seemed to be crashing back into his life? Jessica glanced at the little girl and then back at Daniel, an unreadable expression on her face. "I'm afraid it can't. We need you to make a decision about the merger team right now." Time stretched. Daniel felt like he was in a tug-of-war. One end was filled with the laughter and love of his home, and the other was a cold reminder of the relentless grind of ambition. Emma looked up at him, her eyes wide, questioning. He forced a smile, trying to reassure her that everything would be okay, but inside, he felt like he was losing ground. "Maybe you could come in for a moment?" Daniel suggested, weighing his options. The way Jessica stood there, confident and calm, stirred something else in him, an urge to protect not just Emma, but the life he had almost lost track of. Anna exchanged glances with Jessica, her expression shifting from routine urgency to the personal. "Daniel, you need to realize that if we don't act now, we could lose everything. This merger is crucial," she insisted. "Yes, but," he hesitated. He could feel Mia's supportive presence as she stepped closer, adding to his resolve. They were a team, his beautiful girls, and they deserved this moment. "I just want to spend time with my daughter," he said, surprising even himself with the strength of his own voice. The air was thick with tension. Would they understand? Could he stand his ground? Mia spoke up, voice gentle yet strong. "Maybe we can all sit and talk for a moment, Daniel. If it's that crucial, let us make it work." Her eyes communicated assurance, urging him forward. As the three adults stepped into the light of their little sanctuary, Daniel felt the weight of their expectations pressing in again. But he knew that amidst all this, he shrugged off the most important part of his life. With resolve, he stepped back, ensuring Emma was close. "Let us figure this out together. But first, how about a dance?" And just as they were about to pull in close, the sound of Emma's laughter soaring in defiance of their tension, another knock rang out, this time from the back door. Who else could be knocking at this chaotic hour? What could possibly come next that would make all of this even more complicated? Daniel's heart raced as the second knock echoed through the house. He felt the laughter fade, replaced by a thick silence. Emma, still holding his hand, looked up at him with confusion clouding her eyes. He could sense Mia's unease too. The air had shifted once again. "What now?" he whispered to himself, feeling the weight of the world resting heavy on his shoulders. The urgency from Anna and Jessica lingered, but the reality of his daughter's innocent joy pulled him back. "Daddy?" Emma's voice broke through his thoughts. "Yeah, sweetheart?" He forced a smile, trying to shake off the clouds hovering over them. "Who's at the back door?" she asked, her curiosity battling the confusion from earlier. "I don't know, but let us go check," he replied, desperate to redirect the afternoon's chaotic current. Another knock sounded, mechanical and impatient. His stride quickened as he led Emma with him. Mia followed closely behind, offering a reassuring squeeze of his shoulder as they reached the kitchen. As Daniel swung the back door open, a young woman stood there, a nervous smile plastered on her face. "Hi, I'm Lily. I just got hired as your new maid," she announced, her voice soft yet firm. For a moment, Daniel's head spun. He hadn't expected anyone else today, especially not so soon after this unexpected company. "Today?" he echoed, glancing back at Mia and Emma. They were silent witnesses to this sudden turn of events. Yeah, Lily continued, her eyes darting between the three of them. I'm sorry for the intrusiveness. I was told to come in today. Right, well, Daniel said, scrambling for words. I wasn't expecting you. Can you give us a moment? But, Mr. Thompson, she started, and the sound of his surname from her lips felt foreign, reminding him of the world he was trying to escape. Can we just take a moment? Mia interjected, stepping slightly forward, her expression a mixture of understanding and determination. Sure, Lily replied softly, sensing the tension thick in the air. She stepped back, momentarily reassessing the door. Daniel shut the door, feeling the push and pull of conflicting emotions. He could sense Mia's gaze on him, asking questions without saying a word. That was unexpected, he murmured, running a hand through his hair. Emma, sensing that things were off-kilter, tugged at his hand. Daddy, what is going on? It's okay, Em. Just grown-up stuff, Daniel reassured, kneeling to meet her eye level. There was a brief silence as they exchanged an understanding gaze. Mia moved to kneel beside them, wrapping her arms around Emma lightly. You know, sometimes things happen when we least expect them, and these surprises can be good or challenging. It's okay to feel confused. Daniel knew Mia was using the moment to comfort Emma, but he felt the weight of unanswered questions still hanging in the air. So, about the dance, he murmured, trying to redirect the conversation. Can we have ice cream first? Emma piped up, her eyes sparkling with hope. Of course, anything for you, sweetheart, Daniel said with a smile, unable to resist her charm. As they stood in the kitchen making plans for ice cream, the strange twist of the day gnawed at him. What would the addition of a new maid mean for their family? Would she disrupt this fragile balance they were trying to maintain? Would more surprises come knocking at their door? His heart pounded with the first hints of anxiety as the past and future collided in his mind. They had just found a rhythm, and now he had to figure out how to keep it intact in the face of all these changes. The moment of peace was about to fracture again as Emma took a step back, her innocent curiosity once again peeking through. Daddy, what if she doesn't like dancing? Daniel smiled, but unease swirled within him. This latest curveball might just be the beginning of something that could change everything again. The door had opened wide, and Daniel wondered just how deep the rabbit hole would go. Could he really juggle all the roles he was trying to fill? Would the merger, the new maid, and his family fit together in this beautiful mess they were trying to build? And then, just as he pondered this, another knock rang out at the front door. Would this unexpected visitor change the game once more? Daniel's breath caught in his throat as the second round of knocking reverberated through the house. Goosebumps pricked his skin, the familiar feeling of dread settling over him. He glanced down at Emma, who stood tightly gripping his hand, her wide eyes darting between the door and his face, searching for reassurance. Stay here, he whispered to her, releasing her hand reluctantly. But Daddy, just a minute, Emma. I'll be right back. He moved toward the front door, heart racing. Each step felt heavier, a drumbeat of anxiety echoing in his chest. Mia followed closely behind him, her brow furrowed in concern. The anticipation hung heavy like thick fog. He wished he could wipe it away. As he opened the door, he found a man standing there, tall and impeccably dressed. The man had a stern expression, one that suggested he wielded authority. His dark hair framed a face that seemed stoic yet vulnerable, hinting at a weight he carried beneath the surface. Mr. Thompson? The man asked, his voice firm but friendly. I'm Oliver. I'm here about the merger. Daniel felt as if the room had tilted on its axis. The merger was an ever-looming specter, one he was desperately trying to navigate while keeping his family's life intact. Today? Right now. Daniel stuttered, glancing over his shoulder at Mia and Emma, who were peering from behind him. Yes, I know it's sudden. That's why I'm here. We can't afford to wait any longer, Oliver replied, his tone heavily laced with urgency. Daniel struggled to find his voice. Can we talk later? This isn't the best time is not on our side, Oliver pressed, stepping inside without invitation, his presence filling the space around them. He was all business, his eyes keen and surveying. I came to discuss the final arrangements and some unexpected challenges. As he spoke, Daniel's mind raced, overwhelmed. How could he handle this today? He glanced at Emma, who, sensing the shift in atmosphere, clung to Mia's side, her innocent eyes wide with uncertainty. Mr. Thompson, Oliver continued, obliviously imposing, the board needs your commitment. There are risks we have to address before moving forward. Mia, could you take Emma to the living room? Daniel asked, his voice steady despite the chaos inside. Okay, come on, Emma, Mia said softly, guiding her away. Let us get some ice cream, and let the grown-ups talk. As soon as they were out of sight, Daniel turned back to Oliver, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. There is so much going on right now. I need time to breathe. I'm trying to keep my family together, I understand that, Oliver replied, his voice a touch softer, as if he acknowledged Daniel's struggle, but felt the urgency of business overshadow it. But the truth is that we can't afford to slow down. There are factors you're not considering. If we delay, pause, Daniel interrupted, holding up a hand. I can't do this today. I have to handle my family first. Time is a luxury we both know we don't have, Oliver countered, his eyes steady and unyielding. An explosion of emotion surged through Daniel, a mix of anger, fear, and mounting guilt. How could he balance his business responsibilities with the fragile needs of his family? Just when he thought he had regained control, life had thrown another curveball, aiming straight for his heart. And if I say no? He asked, defiantly. Oliver's expression hardened. That wouldn't be wise. Tension crackled in the air between them. Suddenly, a commotion erupted from the living room, breaking their strained conversation. Daniel raised an eyebrow. What was that? Oliver shrugged. Maybe something on the television? The sounds grew louder, a laugh, followed by music. Daddy, look. Emma's voice rang out, bright with joy. Daniel's heart raced again, this time for a different reason. He rushed toward the living room, drawn by that music, that joy. Coming around the corner, he was again met with a sight he'd never expected. There in his living room, Emma was dancing, twirling in delight, and beside her was Lily, their new maid, gracefully following suit. A whirlwind of emotions filled Daniel, a cocktail of disbelief, frustration, and an inexplicable warmth at his daughter's laughter. Just when he thought he could predict life as chaos, it led him somewhere entirely different. Lily? Daniel called out, confusion clouding his voice. What is happening? In that moment, with the sun streaming through the windows and songs filling the air, a strange thought blazed through his mind. Could this be what they all needed right now? As the music played louder, Daniel found himself caught between his familial duties and the relentless business grind, a fight within himself of every texture, every note, and every glance shared between family members and unexpected guests. He stood there, heart pounding, longing for clarity that eluded him, wondering what this path would lead them all down next. Daniel's heart swelled as he watched Emma dance, twirling with pure joy. Her dark curls bounced with every movement, and her laughter seemed like a ray of sun breaking through the clouds of his worries. It was a striking contrast to the serious weight of Oliver's business proposal lingering at the front of the house. Emma, he breathed, stepping into their space, needing to be a part of this moment. You're dancing. How are you feeling? His voice was soft, a mixture of wonder and disbelief. I feel happy, Daddy, she replied, her eyes sparkling as she spun again. Lily is teaching me. Look how pretty I can be. Lily, who had been hesitant and stiff since starting her new job, wore a bright smile, her movements now fluid and free. As she caught Daniel's gaze, a flicker of concern crossed her features, quickly replaced by a reassuring expression. "She's amazing, Mr. Thompson. She has a real gift for it." Daniel couldn't help but smile, a warmth spreading through him as he took a step closer. Watching Emma dance, he felt the burdens of the merger and the pressure from Oliver fade a little. It was as if this moment was pulling him out of the tangled weeds of his responsibilities and into the open air where laughter thrived. "What song is this?" he asked, trying to absorb as much light as he could from the tiny whirlpool of happiness in front of him. "It's our favorite, the one about the sunshine and rainbows," Emma shouted, her enthusiasm infectious. "Can I dance too?" he asked, half joking, but the hopeful glimmer in Emma's eyes was all he needed to nod in agreement. "Yes. Daddy, dance with us," she squealed, reaching out her tiny hands. He took them in his, and for a moment, the world softened around the edges, leaving only his daughter, a new friend, and the sweet notes, filling the air. They swayed together. Daniel could feel the tension from Oliver slip away, like sand through his fingers. No group of board members, no looming deadlines, or closed deals mattered as much as this here, right now. But then, just as quickly as it came, that clarity was shattered by another knock on the door, this one louder, more insistent. The music stumbled and faltered, the laughter paused, and Daniel's reality came crashing back. "Oh no, not now," he muttered, guilt creeping in as he glanced at Lily and Emma. "I'll get it, Daddy," Emma said, her enthusiasm undeterred. She bounded off toward the door, as if it were just another game. "Wait, Emma," Daniel called, instinctively moving to intercept her. But before he could reach her, the door swung open to reveal Oliver, his expression stern and businesslike once more. "We really need to talk, Mr. Thompson. This can't wait." Daniel stood frozen, caught between the joy of Emma's laughter and the gravity of the business world pressing in around him. He saw the confusion in Emma's eyes, the way she faltered, caught in the tumult of adult conflicts. As Oliver continued, Daniel braced himself. How could he explain to Emma that her dance could be bulldozed by obligations, by the urgency of a merger that didn't seem to care about love, joy, or family? "Let us take this outside," he finally said, his voice firm yet strained, knowing that it was more a plea than an order. He needed to protect his daughter, but he also needed to face the business side of his life. "Emma, sweetheart, can you wait here for me just a moment?" Her small face fell slightly, confusion washing over her. "But I want you to dance too with us." "I know, honey. I'll be right back," he promised, though in his heart, he feared that the moment was slipping away. He couldn't let this new joy be overshadowed by the demands of the world outside. As he stepped outside with Oliver, Daniel felt the weight of his responsibilities pressing down like an anchor. How much longer could he balance everything? What was truly at stake? Beneath the bright sun, with his heart still dancing to Emma's laughter, he faced the next chapter of his life. One that could either strengthen his family or bring them crashing down. What if, he thought, the words forming silently in his mind. What if I choose my family this time? That question hung in the air, filled with possibility and a hint of defiance, just as the door closed quietly behind him. Daniel stepped outside, the hallway a sharp light hitting him like a wake-up call. He looked at Oliver, who stood arms crossed, waiting. The stern lines of his colleague's face reflected urgency, unbending. But all Daniel saw was a struggle for balance. Business was once again pushing family to the sidelines. "Daniel," Oliver began, barely giving him a moment to breathe. "We need to finalize the terms of the merger. This is critical. If we don't act now, we could lose everything." His voice hardened, the weight of his words pressed down like a heavy weight. Daniel glanced back through the window, catching a glimpse of Emma and Lily. They were spinning joyfully. A burst of laughter erupted from Emma, and it felt like a punch to his gut. How could he let a deal eat away at the sweetness of this moment? Can't it wait, Oliver? Daniel's voice was firm, almost pleading. Emma needs me. Every moment counts in this industry, Oliver shot back, his tone devoid of understanding. You have responsibilities here, Daniel. Don't let personal matters cloud your judgment. Daniel's heart raced, confusion brimming like an overflowing cup. A world of shareholders and profit margins felt cold compared to the warmth radiating from the music and laughter behind him. I'm sorry, but I can't, he said, the finality of his words surprising even him. He turned back to the door, instinct pulling him towards his daughter. Daniel, Oliver warned, stepping closer, but Daniel could hear the tension in his silence, the pressure rising like a tide. Just give me a moment, he shouted, stepping back into the house. The laughter washed over him, softening the harsh edges left outside. Emma grinned, and his heart melted a little more. Daddy, you're back. You have to dance with us. Her excitement was sheer innocence, and for a fleeting second, the world felt lighter. Let me just. But as Daniel entered the room, he caught Lily's eyes. There was an unspoken understanding between them. A shared knowledge that what Daniel was wrestling with was more than just a business obligation. It was about choosing the kind of father he wanted to be. Can I join in? Lily asked, interrupting Daniel's thoughts. Her cheeks flushed from the dance, her smile genuine. Maybe we could all dance together? Daniel shot her a grateful look, a lifeboat in the stormy sea. Yes. Let us dance. All three of them fell into the rhythm of the music, and the joy exploded around them. Daniel picked Emma up, spinning her high above the ground, her giggles bubbling like laughter in a fountain. But with every twirl, he felt the shadow of Oliver's words. What came next? What if the business failed? What if he lost everything he had worked for? As the chorus played, a realization dawned. It was possible to balance both. He could still be a devoted father while making work decisions. A new idea sparked. What if, he mused out loud, I found a way to bring my family into my business life? Emma's eyes lit up with delight. Yes, Daddy. We can all be together. Like a team. Daniel smiled, but in the depths of his heart, uncertainty loomed. Could he navigate both worlds? Could he merge his love for Emma with the demands of his job? The music echoed for a beat longer, weaving through the possibilities. With Oliver waiting just outside, the door to the adult world still loomed ahead, and Daniel could feel the moment shift. What if making one choice wouldn't just fracture his world, but propel him towards something even greater? Let us go outside, Daniel said suddenly, heart racing at the thought of what might come next. As he moved towards the door, hopeful yet anxious, he felt a sudden surge of courage. Whatever path lay beyond that threshold, he was ready to face it. But as he reached for the doorknob, another knock echoed through the house, this one sharper, more urgent. What now? Daniel hesitated, torn between the world he wanted to protect and the storm that threatened to engulf him. Daniel's hand paused midair, the doorknob cool against his palm. The knock had cut through the happiness of the moment like a knife. Anxiety curled in his stomach. Emma and Lily, still caught up in their dance, didn't he notice the change in him? He felt a chill in the air, a stark contrast to the warmth and laughter that had just filled the room. Who is it? He called out, trying to keep his voice steady despite the prickle of uncertainty creeping up his spine. A moment later, the door swung open. Standing there was Mrs. Jenkins, the family's housekeeper, with an expression that was both anxious and slightly relieved. Mr. Daniel, there's been a call. It's urgent. The gravity in her tone weighed heavily on him. What about? He asked, collecting himself and stepping away from the door, drawing Emma and Lily's gaze. They need your immediate attention at the office, Mrs. Jenkins replied, glancing at the girls, then back at Daniel with concern. The merger negotiations have hit a snag. They're saying it's critical. Daniel's heart sank as Oliver's words echoed in his mind. Every moment counted. He felt his new resolve wane, shadows creeping back in. Can it wait? I have my daughters here. It seems not, she insisted gently. They're insisting you need to address it now. The insistent pressure of duty gnawed at him. He looked back at Lily and Emma. They were animated, lost in their own world of music, and laughed at their faces glowing with joy. And yet, simultaneously, he felt the pull of the adult world, its demands almost suffocating. How could he choose when each option felt like a sharp fork in the road? Do you need me to go? Daniel asked, feeling the desperation pooling in his voice. No, Daddy. Emma chimed in, her innocence cutting through the tension. You promised to dance with us. We can fix it all together. Lily nodded earnestly, her gaze pleading, as though she too understood the weight of his decision. And suddenly, Daniel saw the two sides of himself: the father, who yearned to embrace every moment with his daughters, and the businessman whose reputation was on the line. The faces of Emma and Lily reflected the clarity he needed. Wait, Daniel said, his voice stronger now. What if I do both? The thought ignited a spark within him. What if I could address the important stuff and still be here for you girls? Emma tilted her head, curiosity bursting through her exuberance. How can you do that, Daddy? All right, Daniel said, feeling the surge of determination. How about we all go to the office together? We'll make it a family adventure. We can dance a little there too, and I'll handle what needs to be done. Emma and Lily exchanged excited glances, their eyes sparkling with the thrill of something new. Like a team, Lily exclaimed. Daniel chuckled, the heaviness in his chest easing. Just like a team. I'll need your help. You two are my secret weapons. But as he reached for their hands, a quick, insistent tap at the door startled them. Mrs. Jenkins glanced back, visibly nervous. This time, it wasn't just one of them. The room felt electrified, as if more was at stake. Can you hold on for just a second, girls? He stepped back to the doorway and opened it wide. What he saw nearly stopped his heart. In the hallway stood Oliver, but beside him was a woman young and fierce, with bright eyes and a determined expression. She didn't belong to the company, he could tell. Daniel, this is Oliver started. But Oliver stopped mid-sentence as she stepped forward, grabbing the attention of everyone in the room. Daddy! Emma squealed, not understanding the shift in energy. And just like that, the air around them thickened. Daniel's world twisted, and he realized that whatever was about to unfold held more than just business implications. It had the power to reshape everything he held dear. Who was this woman? And what was the urgency behind her presence? Daniel could feel the weight of the choice he had to make as the laughter in his home faded into an uneasy silence. What surprises and challenges awaited him in this unplanned chapter? The tension filled the air like a heavy fog as Daniel stood frozen in the doorway, staring at the unexpected woman beside Oliver. Her expression was earnest, and she seemed not to be swayed by the gravity of the moment. I'm Sarah, she stated confidently, her eyes locking onto his, piercing through the uncertainty that swirled within him. Sarah, what brings you here? Daniel asked, trying to maintain composure, but his heart raced wildly. I've come to talk about the merger, she replied curtly. There has been a development that you need to address immediately. The lyrical laughter of Emma faded behind him, her joy now replaced with confusion. He wanted to protect her from this looming storm that threatened to upend everything they had just begun to rebuild. Can't it wait? He asked again, this time his voice edging on desperation. No. Sarah's response was sharp, her determination palpable. The situation is more urgent than we anticipated. Your absence could risk everything you've worked for. I'm afraid I couldn't wait for your convenience. Daniel felt the weight of the world pressing in, the fragile peace he'd just begun to build teetering on the edge. He glanced back at Emma. She was leaning against Mia, confusion flickering in her eyes. "Daddy, will you be okay?" she asked, reaching a small hand toward him. He knelt down to her level, heart breaking at the concern painted on her face. "Yes, sweetheart. I just need to handle some grown-up things for a moment." But deep down, he felt the dichotomy of his roles clawing at him. His family needed him, yet so did his career. Let us go together, as a family. Emma's enthusiasm pierced through the tension. "All three of us can help." "That's a great idea," Mia chimed in, before turning back to Daniel, an encouraging smile lighting her face. It was as if they both knew something Daniel had yet to see, that he could truly merge his roles, become a fuller version of himself. The thought sparked something in him. "You're right, Emma. We can face it all together." He felt a newfound resolve. "Mr. Thompson, this isn't game," Oliver interjected, irritation brewing in his tone. "You can't take your daughter into a high-stakes meeting." "Why not?" Daniel bellowed, finding his voice amidst the rising tension. "Why can't we do this as a team? If she supports me, she can be my secret weapon." Oliver's eyes widened in disbelief, but Sarah merely nodded, smirking slightly as if his perspective had clicked into place. "A bold move," she said. "But if you believe this will work, let us not waste time." Emma clapped her hands, bubbling with excitement. "Yes, Daddy. I'll help you be the bestest businessman. And then we can dance." With the laughter of his daughter rekindling hope in his heart, Daniel took a deep breath, feeling the weight of both worlds shift. "Then, that's what we're doing." He extended his arms toward Emma and Mia, both gathering close to him. "Let us go show them just how strong our family can be." As they stepped out of their home into the world beyond, the contrast struck him. The sunlight seemed to shimmer brighter, the sound of laughter still echoing in his mind, mingling with the looming responsibilities that waited for him. Together, they made their way towards the office. Daniel's heart envisioned a future where both sides of him could coalesce into one. The boardroom buzzed as they entered, filled with expectant gazes, and Daniel felt the collective power of his family beside him. "Everyone, I'd like you to meet my daughters, Emma and Mia," he introduced, his voice booming with newfound assurance. The room fell silent as the unexpected duo stepped forward, innocent yet empowering. In that moment, as all eyes were transfixed on his family, Daniel realized he was no longer just a businessman or a father. He was both. He felt the warmth of transformation flooding through him. He could shape both his business and his family life. From the back, Emma whispered with an urgent grin, "Dance time after this, right, Daddy?" He laughed, the worries momentarily melting away. "Absolutely, sweetheart." The discussion began. Again, fueled by a new energy. Daniel began to speak, every word laced with fervor, not just for the merger, but for the family he was learning to prioritize. Each idea, every decision became clearer as he bounced off the light in Emma's eyes. They weren't just numbers or proposals. They were steps towards a future where work could complement the laughter that reminded him of what truly mattered. As they navigated through the intricacies of business, the fusion of his roles sparked joy and power greater than he ever imagined. He could be a father without losing touch with the powerful titan he had spent years becoming. In the end, as negotiations wrapped up with a sense of hopeful agreement, he felt a swell of victory. They emerged into the brilliant light outside, laughter vibrant and true. "Now can we dance?" Emma's voice rang loudly, no longer a question but a joyful declaration. And they did. Right there, under the big open sky, with every step taken together, a dance of laughter, resolve, and love, celebrating their journey. Seeing them twirl and sway, Daniel felt gratitude wash over him, knowing he had not just survived the chaos but thrived within it. As they danced, he realized he had moved from loneliness to hope, his heart a kaleidoscope of emotions ready to embrace tomorrow, every moment filled with light. Together, they had transformed into a powerful team, a family that could face anything that life threw their way. And as the music swelled, beckoning him forth, he knew they were just getting started, forever ready to merge life and business on their own terms. Now, don't wait another second. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. We can't wait to hear from you. And don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because this is the moment to show your support.